Welcome. I'm Nora Shabazi. I'm the founder of EBLI, Evidence-Based Literacy Instruction, which is a revolutionary system of teacher training and student instruction with the goal to get all learners of every age and ability level to their highest potential in reading, writing, and spelling. And in this blog, I'm talking about basically why EBLI is so revolutionary and trying to explain it in words. There's going to be a companion webinar that will do some more show and tell, but this one is to explain it in words. And EBLI, one of the things that makes it unique is that it's a part of a very small number of systems that are out there that use a speech to print approach, has been commonly called say, spell, read. It's also been called linguistic phonics. A group of us have been collaborating that teach this way, and Aaron Sane, who has been collaborating with us, came up with the term structured linguistic literacy, which we've been throwing out there and really like a lot. So, I'm gonna use that in this vlog and in this webinar because it's really what we do. The instruction is structured, meaning that it's explicit and systematic. It's linguistic. It comes from a speech first approach, or instead of focusing on the letters first, we focus on speech first, in words and talking, which is what kids already bring to the table. So when you have a speech first or linguistic approach, it's kind of like you're building in a house and you start with the house already half built, or you're running a race and you're halfway across around the track already. So you have a really big head start, which and you're utilizing something you already know, which is how to speak, and it really helps accelerate your progress. So that and it's literacy, because it's not just the parts of reading instruction that are decoding, phonemic awareness and phonics. It's all aspects of reading instruction, including vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension with EBLI, as well as handwriting and spelling and writing. So all of the components that you need for literacy are incorporated into EBLI, and it's integrated. So the instruction is not like, now here for this half hour we're going to teach spelling, and over here we're going to teach vocabulary for 20 minutes and then phonemic awareness for 10 or whatever. It's integrated where every activity that you do with EBLI has probably, of those 8 components I mentioned, 4 to even up to 8 of them in each activity. So they're not isolated, they're not siloed. It's not like putting the, all the different parts of the house in different areas on the land, right? And not having them come together. We put them all together and then we teach them all together, which is very different than how instruction typically is as far as with reading. And we really want to move our kids very quickly to reading and applying what they've learned in text. Okay, so actually really reading a book, actually really using what they've learned to write. So that application is really important, and then interleaving or spiraling the instructions so that the error correction, you don't have to be perfect before you can apply it, but when you apply it, you continue to get support and error correction to continue to refine and get better and better. So EBLI is very engaging, it's very interactive. Kids, you have a lot less behavioral issues because kids are not being taught to, they're being interacted with, but with explicit instruction. So using a whiteboard and seeing, saying, hearing, writing. So there are many, many ways that accelerate instruction with EBLI, using the sounds, because when we speak words, we have to go with the sounds instead of the letter names, and doing that, and also not using rules, not using syllable types, not putting in a lot of extraneous information that really kind of clogs up in the cognitive processing and the cognitive load for learners, but instead helps them to have it really flow and information come in and they can see immediately, pretty much, especially with remediation kids that we work with, but also in a classroom with any kids. They can see like, oh, I can see that this is a code and this has a system of logic, and I utilize this to use when I read and write. So there's a really big purpose to it, and it's something that you use your whole life. So this blog is going to talk to you a little bit more about that. I hope you join the webinar and check that out too, so you can see more of what I'm talking about in action. And I thank you very much for joining in and taking part in learning more about how and why EBLI is unique.